Hello everyone, welcome in this video. So in the previous video we discussed about function, recursion, arguments and parameters, and today in this video we'll be discussing about file handling and the next topic that are file handling in Python and the introduction of that. So until now every Python program we have written stores RAM in RAM memory. Example name Harshit, print name. The variable name exists only while the program is running. So wait a second first. The variable name exists only while the program is running. As soon as the program ends, variable disappears, data is lost, memory is cleared. Imagine writing your own college assignment on a whiteboard. After finishing, someone cleans the board, everything is gone. This is exactly how program memory works. So why do we need these files? Suppose you are making student management system, hospital management system, library system, banking system. Can all data disappear after closing the program? Obviously not. Records must remain, customer information must remain, bank balance must remain. Therefore, we need files. So, what is a file? A file is a collection of data permanently stored permanently on a storage device such as a hard disk or an SSD. So, a file allows information to remain available even after the program is closed. Real life examples are think about Microsoft Word. When you create assignment.docs and save it even after shutting down your computer. And save it even after shutting down your computer, the file still exists. Similarly, Python can create student.txt, marks.txt, and notes.txt and store information permanently. Advantage of files: permanent storage, large amount of data, easy to share, easy to update, easy backup, and used in a real world application. There are types of files, so there are only mainly two types of files. First is text files that are human readable files like notes.txt, student.txt, data.csv, and python.py. And binary files cannot be read directly by human. Example: photo.jpg, video.mp4, song.mp3, and file.pdf. For INT, we mainly study text file. So, file handling operators. Python allows us to create files, open files, read files, write file, append data, and close files. So, opening a file: before using any file, it must be opened. Python uses open function, and the syntax is file is equals to open, file name, and the mode. Here, open, you have to write open, then it thing goes to the file name, then mode, and then returns file object. So the file modes are R for read, W for write, A for append, X for create a new file, and R plus for read plus write, W plus is for write plus read, A is for append and read. Read mode used for reading existing file. File is equals to open student.txt is equal, comma R. So it is reading the file. If the file does not exist, Python gives file not found error. Example: student.txt contains Harshit, Rahul, Aman, and program is file is equals to open student.txt and read the file. So data is equals to file.read, print data, file.close. So it will read Harshit, Rahul, and Aman. Then reads the entire file. Data is equals to file.read and will use the parenthesis. Then the read line reads only one line. Suppose file apple, banana, and orange. Program will be file is equals to fruit.txt, comma R, file print file dot read line, and file close, the output will be apple because it will only read apple, that is one line, and it is read line. We have to use read line here. And read lines reads every line into a list. So it will just, you have to just use read lines right here, and it will read every line and put that into a list. Writing into a file mode is W. So writing is mode that you can have to represent by W. It creates, firstly create a new file. If the file already exists, its old content is deleted. File is equals to open student.txt comma W, file.write welcome to Python, and file.close. Now student.txt contains welcome to Python. Yes. Let's start with so writing multiple lines. File is equals to notes.txt. Just copy this, I'll make you understand this code. File is equals to open notes.txt comma W means we are writing the file. It will create a new file first, and the previous data of the file will be deleted. So the text that will be stored is Python, Java, and C++, and the file will be closed from here. So when you run this file, it will show you the file is created. Well, generally the main use of these things like file is when the program is already being made. So when you are trying to do these questions, make sure you have already made a file, and that file must be like empty, because if it is not empty, it will delete all the previous data and make sure that the new data will be stored in it. So when you are doing these questions either on a platform like CodeTantra or either on some other platform, and you have given some questions like that, then it is like the what we can say, the teacher or the program owner ensures that the programs have already been added into your platform, so you do not need to make any other text files. Like here it is notes.txt. If I just create a file that is right here, that is notes.txt, already exists at this location, please choose a different name. Let's just let me put on a timer first. I'll put it up to 15 minutes. How much time will it be? 22, we will be 44, and then almost 16 minutes. No, only 6 minutes more. That will do the first video. questions from Gemini. Let's start this topic. So, the core concept of what is a file is in computing a file is named continuous collection of bytes stored on a non-volatile secondary storage medium such as an SSD or a hard disk. Let's just move on to the next video. Not the next video, next topic. So, where we were. When a Python script runs, all the variable list and dictionary are stored in the RAM primary memory. RAM is volatile, its contents disappear instantly when the program exists or power is lost. So files provide a way to store data permanently, persistently, so it can be reloaded the next time the software runs. So file categorization in Python. Python broadly classifies files into two main types: text file, CSV file, and py file, that are Python file. So stored as a sequence of human readable characters, every lines end with a special hidden character called an EOL, that's end of line character, which is backslash n, that is a new line in Linux and Mac OS, and backslash r backslash n, carriage return plus new line in Windows. So Python automatically handles these conversations behind the scenes, and binary files are .png, .mp3, .exe, .dat, stored as raw bytes 0 seconds and 1 second without any EOL translation, cannot be read properly using a standard text editor. They require specialized software to decode. Binary files cannot be read properly using a standard text editor. They require specialized software to decode. Opening files. Core concept before your Python script can interact with a file, it must ask the operating system for a connection stream. This is achieved using the built-in open function. File object is equals to open file name and mode. This is the common syntax for opening the files. Let me just write it in here. File name. A string represents the absolute or relative path to the file. Mode. A string specifying the purpose of opening the file, reading, writing, and appending. File object. Variable that holds the file handle or pointer. All future operation, reading, writing, are called as method on this object. And modes are R, W, A, X, R plus, W plus, and A plus. So the purpose of R is read only, purpose of W is write only, purpose of A is append only, and purpose of X is exclusive creation, and R plus is write, read and write, and W plus is write and read, and A plus is append and read. File pointer position, start of the file, and in for W is start of the file, append is at the end of the file, and A plus append and read is file pointer position of it is end of the file. If file already exists, it opens normally and it overrides, erases all the data. Append only preserves data right at bottom. Exclusive creations raises error, and file exists error, then it gives file exist error. Read and write opens normally, can override text. Write and read overrides, erase all data. Append and read, append and read. And read. Append and read preserves data, appends at the bottom. If file does not exist, file not found error is given by read only. Write only gives creates a new empty file. A creates a new empty file. X creates a new empty file. R plus raises file not found error. W plus creates a new empty file. A plus creates a new empty file. Note is adding A, B to any mode, example RBWB, opens the file in binary mode instead of standard text mode. Then is reading file. To read file, a file must be opened in readable mode, that is R plus, W plus, or A plus. Python provides three methods to extract content. Method 1 is read size. It reads the content of the file from the current pointer position. No argument, reads the entire file into memory as one single string. With argument, reads exactly n characters from the file. File is equals to open sample.txt, R. Content is equals to file.read, print content, and file.close. Second is, let's just copy this in the VS Code. Method 2 is .read line. Reads exactly one individual line up to including the next new line character. If called repeatedly, it moves down by line and returns an empty string with this some double quotes when it reaches the EOF, that is end of file. Let's copy this. File is equals to open sample text, R. File first line is equals to file dot read line. Second line is equals to file dot read line. Print first line and with double quotes and double quotes avoids doubling up the new lines. Print second line ending with double quotes ends doubling with the new lines, and file dot close. This is the common syntax for the read line function of the read. Next is read lines. It will read all the lines and turn that into a list. We have done this earlier. Let's do this. Memory efficiency. Best practice. Loading huge multi-gigabyte file using .read line will consume all the system memory and crash your script. The professional way to process a file is to loop directly over the file object, which processes exactly one line at a time without loading the whole file into the memory. File is equals to open large data set.txt, r, and for line in file print line.strip file.close. Writing files. To save text data, open the file using write enabled mode ww plus and r plus. Write string data. Insert a string variable or a literal string into the target file. Warning: the .write file method does not append a new line character automatically. If you want a successive writes to appear on the separate line, you must explicitly add \n constraint. It only accepts string input. Attempting to write integer, floats, or list directly will trigger a type error. Here is given as file, and file is opened, and this is the name of the file, that is output.txt. It is opened in the write mode, and file.write and hello user explicitly new line is added, and the score is 98. File.write.score, this occurs a type error. File.write str score plus \n must be created for using the typecast using the str. So file.close is used here. Then accepts an iterable collection such as a list of strings or tuple of string and flushes them to the disk consecutively like .write. It does not insert new lines between items. Lines to add is equals to first item \n, second item \n, third item \n. File is equals to open list output.txt, w. File dot write lines to add file dot close. Let's move on to the next one, and next is appending data. When you open an existing file using w, Python completely purges, truncates the file to a size of 0 bytes before executing code to safely inject logs, telemetry metrics, or update onto the bottom of an active document without losing historical data. Use append mode. The internal file pointer automatically jumps straight to the absolute end of the file. And let us, in this Python programming code, it is saying that assume history log already contains of 8 am and system boot is completed. So the file will open, that is history.log, and file will write 9 am user already login detected. So file will be closed, and the history log contains both of the sentences seamlessly. That will be 8 am also and 9 am also. So closing the file and then opening with with open the pattern, while closing is non-negotiable. When you modify a file in Python, changes are not written directly to the physical storage instantly. Instead, data is held inside a temporary chunk of memory called a buffer. Invoking .close flushes the remaining buffer content safely onto the drive and unlocks the file from operating the system memory. If a file is left unclosed, data corruption, locked system files, or resource leaks can occur. File is equals to it is a traditional way not recommended for the modern development. File is equals to open data.txt comma r. If an error happens right here, file.close never runs. So file.close, let's just try this once, and I will create a file that is data.txt data data.txt and hello Harshit. Why it works? The moment your program leaves the indented block under the statement, either through the normal execution or due to the catastrophic error or crash, Python automatically invokes .close under the hood. Core concept is the data pickling. The standard .write method can only commit plain strings data types to disk. If you need to preserve complex Python structures like a nested dictionary or matrix of custom class object or list instances exactly as they are without converting them to text string manually, you use pickling object serialization. Serialization pickling convert a live Python object hierarchy into a byte stream. And desertization unpickling, converting a byte stream into a fully functional Python object. Requirement: pickled data requires files to be opened in binary mode WB or RB. this is a big example of the code. That is, first we are going to do this. That is, requirement is pickle data requires wait a second. Pickle data requires file to be opened in binary mode, WB or RB. So code example of pickling and unpickling data is notice written as code example of pickling and unpickling data is import pickle and student database is equals to 101 and 102 name Aman Naim Priya courses INT 108 math 201 INT 108 and CSE 101 GP is 8.5 and GP is 9.2. So the serialization writing object to a binary file with open student.dat comma wb is writing in binary as binary file, and pickle.dump student databases dot binary file. Dump is the serialization object. Alright, python print python object successfully pickled to disk with open students.dat comma rbs binary file. Loaded database is equals to pickle.load binary file. Print loaded database 108 name and output will be Priya. Let's, because there is no benefit of running this code because they won't give any output because we don't have any file name pickle. Python object you can see here is created, it is students.dat. Nodes is also created, that is Python, Java and C++. Data is also created, that I have created. So here is Python object successfully pickled to disk. Let's try this once again. And the answer here is our loaded database 102 name is Priya, so it will be printed. C++ is working, but internet is not working. Let's move on to the next topic, that is exception handling in file operation. So the core concept is file handling operation are highly dependent on the external circumstances and out of your program's control. A file might be missing, locked by another app on your system, storage might run out of space. To stop these common situation from causing hard time crashes, implement an explicit try except else finally architecture. Common file errors are file not found error, triggered when reading a file name that does not exist in the designated path, permission error triggered when trying to write to a system file or explicitly read only file directory, unsupported operation triggered if you try to call write inside a file opened in R mode. Wait a second. So given the safe implementation blueprint is given as try file name is equals to input, enter the file to read with open file name comma R as file, data is equals to file dot read except file not found error, print error The file you enter does not exist. Accept permission error. If uh, if it gives permission error, print error. You do not have the administrative permission to open this file. And accept exception as E. Print F. A unexpected error occurred and the E function will be used. Else, print file read successfully. Here is the data length and length of the data. Finally, print print file handling operation block complete. And let's just try to do this. Here it is given as next. So given exception handling in the file operation is as file handling operation are highly dependent on the external circumstances out of your programming control. A file might be missing, locked by another app, or your system storage might run out of space. A high yielded practice programming. Wait a second. High yield practice programs INT 108 exam format. Program 1 character, word, and line counter. Problem statement: write a Python function that reads an input text file and calculates the total character count. Wait a second. And total line count. Define generate file statistics file underscore path. Character count is equals to 0, word count is equals to 0, line count is equals to 0. Try open with open file r as file for line in file. Line count plus is equals to 1. Words is equals to line dot splits line string into list of word. Word count plus is equals to length of words. And for word in words, character count plus is equals to length of word. So print this all will be printed as file analysis for the file path, total lines as the line count, and total word as the word count and total character as the character count. Except file not found error will be printed as error the targeted text file was not found. So let's just take it into this and run this. It is showing nothing. No, the file is running, but none of this is printing out. Search and replace text utility. Problem statement: write a program that searches for a specific target word inside a file and updates every instance of the word with a replacement string, saving the result safely. Here is the program. Here is a function defined as find and replace word, and the parameters are file path, old word, and new word. And it is using the try function right here to read the original data from the file. We have to use with open file as r and as file content is equals to file dot read. If old word not in content, print f notice word old word wasn't found in the text document and then return it. Updated content is equals to content dot replace old word new word with open file with command w as file dot write updated content, print f success all instances of old word replaced with new word, and ends with the dot. And except if file not found error comes, it will print error failed to perform replace action because the file is missing. Use this execution find and replace the word setting configuration localhost 19 is this whatever it is. Try to Next is the append mode. It adds new data without deleting the previous data, such as the current file is Harshit. The file program is given as file is equals to open student.txt.a. It appends the file, and file write is given as \n Rahul, and file dot close. Now the file becomes Harshit and Rahul. And the difference between write and append is write deletes the previous data, start from the beginning, mode is equals to w, Append keeps the previous data ends at the end and mode is equals to A. Closing file. After completing work, always close the file, that is files.close. Why close the file? Because it saves the memory, saves the changes, prevents data corruption, frees systems resources. With open instead of manually closing, Python provides with open. Syntax with open student.txt comma r as file data is equals to file.read print data. Notice there is no file.close. Python automatically close the file. Advantage of with open: cleaner code, automatic closing, safer, and preferred by professionals. And these are the practice program for creating a file. If you want to create a file, first of all, let's just put here is the files created. Here you can see the files created right here, that is hello students. Then read the file open demo.txt then comma r, it will read the file. Append the data. File is equals to open demo.txt comma a file dot write welcome to help you file dot close. Here you can see the value are added right here. The first value was the hello students and the second value was the welcome to help you. Both values are added in this demo.txt file. Let's move on to the next problem. The next problem is count the characters. For counting the character, there is a new statement added, that is print characters and length of the text. So it will count the characters. Here the characters that are counted are 29. So the length of the character is 29. Then count the words. File is equals to open demo.txt r text is equals to file.read words is equals to text.split print words comma length of words and file.close. It will count the words of the file. And when we run this, the words in the file are totally 5. Count lines. File is equals to open demo.txt.r lines is equals to file.read lines print lines is equals to line length of lines file.close. Source is equals to open data download dot txt comma r. Data is equals to source dot read. Destination is equals to open copy text with w. Destination dot write is data. Source dot close and destination dot close. Store student details file is equals to open student.txt comma w. Name is equals to input enter name. Age is equals to input enter age. File dot write name and name plus name. File dot write backslash n age semicolon plus of age, and then file is closed. Enter name, so let's just enter age. Let's enter the age as 19. Here is the document. Display student details file is equals to open student.txt.r. Print file dot read file dot close. Display student details. Let's just the student details. Your student details are name is Harshit and age is 19. Using with open demo.txt comma r as file print file dot read. Where is the next one? So with open demo.txt comma r as file print file dot read. So it says hello students, welcome to LB. Let's move on to the next example. Common error are file not found. abcdxt is not a file, so it will show file not found error. Forgetting to close the file. File O is equals to open demo.txt with write file dot write hello. If you do not close the file, changes may not be saved immediately and system resources remain in use. Wrong mode. Open demo.txt comma r. Trying to write using read mode will cause an error. Overwriting data accidentally. Open student.txt comma w with w mode. Erasing the existing content before writing. Use A if you want to preserve data. What is happening? Let us revise the previous question we did before. I don't know what is going on with the internet. So, let us revise the previous question, but wait a second. I'll come back in a minute. No share ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਕੱਢੀ ਜਾਵੇ ਅੱਡੀ ਚੁੱਕ ਚੁੱਕ ਵਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਣ ਜਾਣ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਲੇ ਜਾਣ ਜਾਣ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ Let's discuss these questions first of all in here. So let's recap the topic we studied in this video. So the concept of a file is a named collection of bytes stored on a non-volatile secondary storage device like an SSD or hard disk. It is structured as a continuous sequence of data bytes that the operating system tracks by a unique path and name, example data.txt. Why files are vital. Data persistence. Programs need a way to save operational states, configuration, and user profile across the computer restarts. Interoperability. File allows different programs or even different programming language to read and exchange the same data metrics. Memory management. Storing massive data sets in file prevents primary memory overload by letting you process data sequentially instead of loading everything at once. Temporary memory versus permanent storage. Metric temporary memory, that is RAM, and permanent storage are SSD and HDD, hard disk drive. So the volatile memory, RAM is a volatile memory that wipes instantly when the power cuts or script end, and non-volatile retains data permanently until deleted. Speed, extremely fast microsecond read write access cycles, and permanent storage is slower mechanical or flash memory access speeds. Structure holds active data structures like variable, disk, and list, and permanent storage structure holds raw sequential encodings like text and binaries. Capacity of the RAM is constrained size limit, typically 8 GB to 32 GB, and capacity of the permanent storage SSD hard disk drive have large capacity up to 256 GB or several terabytes. How to open a file using open. File pointer is equals to open file name and the access mode that can be read, write, or append only. And how to the primary access mode are read only, write only, and append only. Read only opens an existing text file from the beginning. It raises a file not found error if the file does not exist. Write only creates new file or opens an existing file and wipes it to 0 bytes, truncates it before adding begins. Appends only opens a file and places the internal pointer directly at the end of the current data. It preserves historical text and creates a new file if it is missing. Reading data. Reading data contains three main functions, that is read, read line, and read lines. First, assume our resource file create.txt contains exactly these three text lines, that is Aman 92, Priya 95, Rohit 81. So the read size method reads the character from the flip pointer file pointer current location, calling it without parameters. Read the entire payload into memory as a single string, that is with open grade.txt rsf. Payload is equals to f dot read and print repr payload. Our output will be Aman 92 /n, Priya 95 /n, Rohit 81. Next is the read line. It will read the single line. So output will be from this particular statement, that is print f.readline.strip will be Aman 92, and second print f.readline.strip will be Priya 95. Second is the read lines method, that will be with open grades.txt. How much time it has been? Alright, the time has exceeded the limits, so let's just continue with what we having. It is not much but quite much, so I'll just tell you the basic things. I'll not dive much into the codes. So Next is how to write and append data into file. The overwriting content with W. You can see with open use here with the log.txt as file as f.write system initialized by n. If log.txt contains 5 underline previously, they are instantly wiped out. Second is appending the content with open log.txt a as f.write event new event added safely into the n appends text directly to the bottom without altering the historical records. Key rules for the writing data: no auto new lines. The write method does not automatically inject line breaks. You must append an explicit \n character string yourself. Strict type constraint: the write method only accepts string argument without integer, float, or boolean data directly with a triggered type error. You must explicitly cast them using str. The importance of closing file with close. When a script edits a file, changes are not saved directly to the hard drive right away. Python holds the data in a temporary memory pool called a buffer. Invoking the .close method flushes the remaining buffer data onto the storage drive and releases the operating system lock onto that file. A risk of the omitting .close is data loss and resource leaks. Why is with open is recommended for the safest approach. The modern industry is to open file using with statement which act as an automated context manager. With open sample.txt r as file handle, data is equals to file underscore handle dot read. The file handle is automatically and safely closed here. Key advantages are guaranteed cleanup. Python automatically closes the file the exact millisecond execution exits the indented block, and it is crash resilient. The file is safely closed even if an unexpected exception, error, or system crash happens right in the middle of the processing. Cleaner syntax: it removes the need to manually write repetitive .close calls across your code blocks. Next are the practical programs that we will discuss, or you should do it yourself. If you find any error, you can just tell me in the next video. Thank you for watching this video. We will meet in the next video, and take care. See you. Bye.